Show with Adrian Biddle, Melissa Bartlett, and your boy Kerry Bixby. It's your show, so tell us what you want to talk about. It's that the Round Table Podcast Show.
Yes, indeedy. Feed the needy. What is going on, family? Oh my goodness! It is Wednesday.
Yes.
I get to hang out with some dynamic people. Oh my goodness! Oh, what am I ever going to do? Hey, so I have to go ahead and introduce these two amazing people. But first and foremost, shouts out to A Money as he is out and about right now. He may join us later on, he may not, but as Sis said, he is here with us in spirit, and we'll hold seat warm for Deacon when he gets back. So, Sis, Melissa Bartlett, aka Pitbull in the Dress, what is going on?
Nothing. It is Wednesday, hump day, middle of the week, and I'm excited about it. I'm excited about our guests. Nothing like having another queen in the house. So phenomenal. On top of that, other than that, I'm great. I'm feeling good. My mental reset is going great. Really feeling like myself again. And feeling energetic and clear and focused. And so I'm ready. I look forward to the show. And tonight I was just on pins and needles with anticipation. Like I could not wait to have our guest and get a chance to spend time with her once again at the round table.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Y'all overwhelm me with love. So
well, wait a minute, we got to do this right.
To you.
We have to do it right. We got to do it right. Should I do it in the voice or should I just do it regular? Let's just do it
in the voice.
No.
I don't know. Can you do? Only one person can really do.
Only one person.
Deacon Jeff, like you gotta. If you're gonna bring the Deacon Def Jam, you gotta bring Deacon Def Jam.
Oh,
like
you gotta bring.
Play around.
I hear her. Go ahead,
you gotta drop the voice, and you gotta,
Gotta be smooth.
Yeah.
Get smooth. Yes.
You gotta get real down into your Barry Whiteness.
Very white. That's what I'm saying.
But I can't do it. I mean,
no,
that's a lot.
I have faith in you, Carrie.
That's a lot of soul up in there.
You got soul. Go ahead.
I got coming to our show tonight is going to be a wonderful actress. She's known as the shape-shifting cosmic conjurer. She is the muse beyond all muses. I would like to introduce to y'all Miss Aixa. Sis, how you say that again? Aixa.
No, that's so wrong.
Aixa Kendrick. What's going on, sis?
It's Aixa.
He's gonna get me later, but hey, he's gonna get me later. But I love my brother.
I know he's gonna get you.
Yeah. But
how are y'all? How are you? Aixa Kendrick. That is who I am.
There you go. You know what? I still watch that show, the last show that we had with you, and I loved the energy that you brought, and I loved when A Money and you were just conversating and y'all were going. I mean, it's probably one of our top 10 shows, I can honestly say.
Beautiful. Really well, thank you. Again, y'all bring the energy and the topics that you touch on and just how you kind of just get us going. I mean, you really delve in and you honor me. And so I can't wait to let's what do we got to talk about now?
Oh, man. Well, our family is chiming in. What's going on, Charlie Toods? Terry, what's going on? Thank you for joining us on tonight at the Roundtable Podcast Show. If you get a chance, please share the show with your friends, your family, your mom and them, grandma. Ask them to come up front and just listen because we're in for a amazing show this evening. Yeah, you've been kind of busy. Me and Melissa were talking about all that you are doing right now, and it's wow, it's deep too, and it's very poignant, especially like right now going into 2022.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's been a blast. I mean, as all artists, you aim to just keep working. That's the
Mhm.
first thing, and to do some interesting pieces or projects that kind of are in alignment with your trajectory as an artist and what's happening. You want to be, just like Nina Simone says, you want to reflect the times. You want to be part of the times, and if right now, I would say if what's interesting is, I would say the times are catching up with this piece,
Mhm.
simply because what I believe you're talking about is the piece I'm performing in right now in Miami, called the Dahomey Warriors, written and directed, yes, by the phenomenon known as Leon Gray,
Mhm.
and who's also done Black Angels Over Tuskegee, and also he's done all kinds of amazing works about Harlem basketball. I think it's called Harlem Kings, Kings of Harlem,
Mhm.
and other pieces that are always. He just did something called Cowboys that also introduced Boss Reeves into the mix. And so
Mhm.
Leon is prolific when it comes to historical works that are extraordinarily entertaining, and then also still capture the heart and the spirit of the times of the then and then of the now. So this piece is based off of the women who are based off historical events from Dahomey, the kingdom of Dahomey, which is now known as Benin on West Africa. And they were an all-female militia. So they were the top militia. And at one point, there were at least, I think, 3,000 to 4,000 women who fought for the
Mhm.
king and for their land. And that was about maybe a little over 200 years they had this system. So they were the highest rank of the soldiers for that time. And so this piece takes the last few days of and the push into 1862, when France eventually dives in to colonize Dahomey.
Mhm.
Woo!
Mhm. Now, if people don't understand exactly what this is, if you saw Black Panther
Thank you.
and if you saw the Dorage,
The Dora Milaje, yes.
it
Hmm.
ooh, them sisters.
Well, that's what Lupita Nyong'o and
Mhm.
the what Ryan Coogler, they had based the Dora Milaje on the
Mhm.
actual Dahomey Warriors. So because those are actually real women who fought strategically to the death. So that's why I said this piece that Leon had written, actually we did it in 2017.
Mhm.
And that was a year before Black Panther came out. And then we also did it in 2018,
Mhm.
and went down to North Carolina to do it at Winston-Salem for the Black National Black Theater Festival.
Yeah.
And so that's when these phenomenal all-female producers here in Miami-Dade, Florida, known as the M Ensemble Company. That's Pat Williams and Shirley Richardson, who now just made their 50th year of doing Black theater and Black culture in Miami-Dade. They saw us in North Carolina and brought us down. They said, we got to do this for Black History Month. So it's a complete honor that they saw the meaning, the message, the
Mhm.
energy, and said, "Hey, let's do it."
Trying to
Uh
tell you.
huh.
My aunt
Yeah.
was at the festival in Winston-Salem,
Uh huh.
and she saw the production, the play, and that's all she could talk about. was how phenomenal it was, and the women, and the passion. And she thought it was one of her favorite plays that she watched during that
Wow.
weekend. So
That's so interesting.
I was like, wait a minute, Auntie was there when you said 2018. Yeah, it was.
And
I
it was
always say I want to go, I want to go, I want to go, and it's just never a time, where I'm like, take that time off from work so I could be up there for those, 3-4 days, and they do a lot of stuff prior to the festival getting there. And but I just want you to know, whether it matters or not, Aunt Carrie, if you're watching, this was one of her phenomenal. This is one of her plays that she raved about.
Wow. Well, bless you, Aunt Carrie. Love, love, love to you, back to you. Yes. And the original title was Black Sparta. Mm-hmm. And then when Black Panther came out and all these other things where he was recalibrating how to better highlight what the main focus was. And so the largest focus was, it was really about the women, these Dahomey Warrior women, and to honor exactly where they came from and the location and everything, so that it was very, very clear.
Mm-hmm. Now, being in 2022, mm-hmm. The second year of a pandemic, social climate of, it appears that for whatever reason, we have to rekindle and rebirth our Black pride, and be so intentional. How does this production, how does this play, how does the spirit of the story help you in your real life, dealing with what we as Black women, as Black people, as my auntie likes to say, Black folk, having to endure in everyday life?
Wow. Well, I would say for me, meaning how does it, for me, the actor?
For you.
Yes. I've been living with her, this character, General Ney, for quite a bit. And so every time I get a chance to revisit her and her approach to living in the story, being that she's the general of the women warriors. Mm-hmm. This time around, I would say one of the key things that she talks about is mind, and mind over heart, as in being strategic in how you approach your next steps, even though she tends to still be run by or deal with her emotions. I find that there would be a lot of cogs in this machine. And there are a lot of pieces to this larger puzzle. And some things we as a people, as a culture, and I would say as the diaspora, we may not have all the pieces. This may not even be our puzzle. And there's a lot going on too. There's a lot going on to really take into account. And so some things, they say if it doesn't apply, let it fly. Mm-hmm. Some things in this, the structure, or how you might even say the hologram image of the picture that we want to pick, what we think we're in, or AKA the Matrix, may not apply to us. So, but unfortunately, what's happening in it, there may be a lot to react to. So the question is, for me, at least I'm seeing it's how do you use your mind to better understand the larger picture? That's what I'm gauging. And then when do you, regardless of what the picture is, stand true to your truth?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Because
that's a big one,
you can
because
react a lot. Reactions are kind of uh, natural. They're instinctive. They're, but when you have to process, just be still,
mm-hmm.
process. I think that's where a lot of people do not have that capability.
Right. And I think, as again, we can get deep in talk already, but as I will say, the larger um, structures have their own um, purpose. A lot of things of even why we even got here were not really positive. So how, doing our best to fit into something that wasn't really structured to be positive for us is another something to take into account. Why then the also conditioning is of reaction versus thought before we act. So there's a lot of that also that has been kind of continually hot buttoned, I would
Yes.
say. There's often lots of trigger hot buttons happening. And that's, again, there's lots of psychological studies that people have done with, you know, electrodes and things where animals are kept in cages on one side, and then they're trained to move to the other side, and then they're shocked, and then they move to the other side, and after a while they stop moving because they get used to the shock, they get used to the, and I would say that just as other folks use that type of studies to further along either marketing or other ways to better understand how
Mm-hmm.
to shape their community or their larger structure, I think we need to take into account that too. A lot more of stillness to step away from this image of broken puzzle pieces and decide whether or not it's even an image we were actually trying to put together.
I've always admired the. So one thing I liked you talking about larger structures, and kind of not getting into it, but the wanting to erase or eradicate the race theory and the teachings and the acknowledgement.
Yeah.
This is one of our historic, I feel important, especially to Black women, that it does appear that our historians gave them some favor in incorporating and inputting and documenting just how supernatural it seems that they were, how fearless they were, how strategic they were, how respected they were, and how it was finally at one point, one area, one moment in time, where it appears that sexism was not a priority. It was more about the objective and it being completed, the assignment being done and done thoroughly and corrected. So correctly. So it goes so much. And as you said, we can start peeling those layers back. But I feel like being able to play one of these historians, one of these historic warriors, I probably would take a good maybe 6 months to like release that from, going to the grocery store or getting my coffee. Like,
You
like, who does she think she
gonna
is?
bring your
Like,
machete?
I'll have General in my cup, Hello,
Mhm.
General Nare. Hello, General. It would be that deep for me, because I just take pride in a woman being strong, especially a Black woman, getting her cupcakes while she can eat them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that those are things to not ever get rid of. to not ever get rid of. That's also to once you get that nugget of bliss and blessings from your ancestral information, then keep it close to your heart and to your spirit, because there's more to learn.
Mhm.
So, especially if you walk with it, then there's definitely more to learn.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I is in fact that there's a lot more. You would think that yes, with this character, you talk about machetes, and we do all these fight coordinations, and there's all kinds of great stuff by our fight coordinator Diego, who did some amazing stuff. And you would think, oh, okay, well, they're temperamental. They behead people, which they did. um,
Which is why
but
they were feared.
that's why they were.
Mhm.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. And but therefore, there's less like my fellow, what I would say my bestie in the play. Her name Kunto. She's one of the wives of the king, but she was a fierce fighter as well with me. So, and she would, her key thing also when she tells the young one is that it's about mind. You just want to swim loose with your emotions. It's not about that. It's again, it's you learn how to use that energy very clearly. So like any martial artist, African martial art, capoeira, anything, you you don't just wild out. You actually learn to temper it with more understanding. And I think that's again with more understanding of how strong, how rich, how powerful, how much history there is in on our mother continent, from where we all sprang from, that the more one actually doesn't want to waste their life here, the more you want to be clear on what you're actually bringing to the table, because you're already walking with much to bring to the table.
Wow, that was deep.
Mhm.
That was kind of on my toe. Ow, 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 ow. Yes. She gave me a verbal shaking, like, hello,
Yeah.
focus on what you need to do now.
Mhm.
Don't get caught up in a noise, because I think that's what happens a lot of times in having these type of plays that represent um, where we come from, giving us history. Um, I feel that we as African American Black people, we kind of get caught up in the Americanized, like you said, um, projects, test, noise, and we forget how strong our minds are, and we forget how royal temperance looks like, and we forget, as far as women is concerned, you know I mean, nothing happened without us. Nothing,
Mhm. Yeah.
nothing happened without us. And this is not to sound cocky. This is just to be real. So, having this moment and this opportunity to be a part of such a rich production, it has such a deeper message, that I think a lot of people, of course, they come for entertainment, but I don't, I hope they get the deeper message, and it resonates with them once they leave, because this is what is needed in today's society, especially where it appears that we're coming out of this pandemic. And so we are now going to be integrated back together, where you have people who haven't had their coping mechanisms for 2 years and haven't had the relation, and haven't had the being with other people, around other people, in small spaces, in large spaces. I mean, this is really going to be interesting. And while a lot of people are, ready to start throwing confetti and like, yeah, we're free, we can go back to what we used to.
I love that word.
It's not going to go back to how we used to, because now you're going to realize how many people's minds are not as strong as you thought they were.
Oh yeah.
And so we're going to need these type of teachings, even in a form of entertainment and a play, to remind us, you need to be strategic about the impulses. You need to be strategic about the emotions. Whether they be true or raw, you still need to make sure that you are thinking about your reaction versus just reacting.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and that there's so many layers in the piece. So I can't, no spoilers.
No spoilers.
Too much.
Yeah.
But one of the geniuses that Leon also did, because of he didn't that's the blessing of the way he writes, and why I really appreciate the work, is that he doesn't tippy-toe around the parts that we as a collective played in the slavery, and but why it was kind of like that. And it was it's briefly touched on, and then there's other aspects because of the return of my character's brother, and how it happens, and what I learned from it, and yet what he does with him having been taken. And so it's trauma is also, I think, a very important topic, and an aspect of how we either work together or we don't. And
that needs to be on a t-shirt.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, I there's goodness, I really there's a few Black psychologists outside of the extraordinary Francis Wesley Cressling, who did the ISIS papers, correct? But there are a couple others, and one who talks about the fact that, yes, there weren't any trauma counselors on the Middle Passage. There probably weren't any trauma counselors when, we were on the Oxbach. There were probably no trauma counselors in one plantation versus the next we were brought to. And each generation of generally like 10-year spans, there were probably no trauma counselors to discuss or share any work out anything. So to really understand how one holds and yet releases, therefore, what this process was and still is, because it's still going.
Yes.
So all of these are aspects or things that this play, this wonderful epic piece, the Dahomey Warriors, touches on in ways that just kind of sit with you, and you're like, wow, and it's really quite beautiful. Yeah,
I can imagine. How is it working in Miami? Now, I know you worked a number of places, so Miami is a place that I have yet to visit. So it's like ding, ding, ding. How is it working in Miami?
Well, I will say that first of all, it's much warmer than New York right now. It's way much warmer than New York right now. And when I do get a chance to enjoy the sun, it's beautiful. I will say, because I'm still contained, it's not like I'm actually doing a 9 to 5 here and like I'm going back and forth and I'm actually living here.
Right.
I'm still in a contained environment. I'm still here to do the show, and we just rehearsals and all this stuff. It's just, woo, there's hardly any hangout time whatsoever. But I did, stuck my toe out a couple times. We drive around and we sit someplace, and you just kind of see the environment. It's filled with all types of, I would say, a blend of culture in where Miami-Dade is. It's you have it's a weird combo of there's, you have Hispanic, then you have Black, then you have what I would call white, but more tourist stuff going on in that location. And so what I'm hearing from people is that it's still pretty segregated in some way, shape, or form. And then there's a lot of construction from where I'm at. Yeah, because they're saying a lot of people are buying property. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? People are buying property, so they're recalibrating whatever it is that they think has value and how they think they're going to bring value to it.
That's kind of going on everywhere.
Yeah, it's kind of going on everywhere, and that's the nature of, I think, anything. I mean, even again back to the kingdoms of Africa, they were warring, what I would say, warring for territorial dominance and richness, and well, we have this and we need that, and there's more land over there. We need to, get some over there. How do we make peace with them, or do we just conquer? So that's generally, I think, the habit of humans is to want stuff, and it's just how they go about it. How we go about it can be friendly or not.
That's deep.
Right.
That's really deep.
Mm-hmm. You can work with people or you're not.
So with this particular piece, it's interesting because it seems like, I don't know, I was reviewing a couple of things and how over the past 2 to 3 years, we've had the Me Too movement, and we've had, certain unfortunate celebrities that have fell prey to, just the whole situation dealing with, how do I say it to be tactful and do it like Adrian as well. They just did it, doing ladies wrong, stuff,
You tell it.
I'm sorry. Okay, let me get serious. So I was trying to kind of add a little humor to it, but
No, but I love it.
It's interesting though, because of how women have been perceived for quite some time, especially African American women, especially Black women. Let me put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're starting to see a lot of projects that are coming out that is actually showing them in a different light, more positive, more leading, more powerful roles that necessarily does not have to deal with negative aspects or nudity and things of that nature. So with this particular piece, it seems as though it's really showing, hey, pay attention. This is where we've come from. This is a long line of really indomitable will and strength in Black women. How is it that we can convey that, to the younger demographic, the younger women that are coming up, because big, if you really look at the dynamic now, Big Mama is gone, so you really don't have those historians anymore that are passing down that that knowledge and that wisdom, that discipline, which is basically, I was hearing as you were both talking, lack of discipline and lack of wisdom cause them to quote unquote wild out. How can we get them to see, the strength that you're portraying in this particular piece?
That's a good question. And I guess I will rewind a little to just kind of also say in the piece, one of the things that I think are beautiful about how powerful these women are is their sensitivity.
Mm. Uh-oh. Dude.
Queen Kendrick, you are frozen.
Yeah, I think you.
Yes,
you are.
There you
now
go.
I am. There
Yay.
we go. And
Woohoo!
just when we got to the good stuff.
Yeah, we're getting to the heart of the matter.
It's a
Go ahead.
conspiracy.
Yeah, we were like this.
I said sensitivity, man.
Black women, sensitive, not angry.
And they're like,
Hold
what? No, we gotta erase that.
Yeah, it's not the angry black woman.
Yeah.
There's some sensitivity in there. Yeah.
Yeah, but that I think is one of the biggest truths, and many other women are sharing that too. Is to, because that's also part of the, I will say, the trauma and the stereotype of we as women here on under a colonial dynamic or slavery dynamic, because just for other women, they wanted, in quotes, feminism for the right to work and whatnot. But I think, again, it was a rare occasion that a woman of color was not working.
Mm.
Since a child, she was, child labor. They were out. We were out in the fields. We were doing everything. And just like Harriet Tubman, she could outload, out shuck, out. So it was about how much you could do in a day that brought you your value.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was men and women just as much. There was no difference. So in that dynamic, I think there was we still had our sensitivities, but we just had to be a lot tougher in a lot of ways to sustain and to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And then it compounded, I will say, from the larger structure for different reasons, for their own purposes.
Personal agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you don't want some strong Black family to feel really good about themselves and keeping yourself solid. It's better to shatter than and keep people scattered, because then you don't have a sense of rootedness.
Yeah.
So so back to the habit, or that, like you talked about, the strong Black woman syndrome, has been a yoke in a lot of ways for us as women, because that was an expectation, actually, and a necessity, but more so just an assumption that there were no feelings. You just had to buck up, pull yourself by the bootstrings and just do what you got to do. But there's a lot. To deny your own sensitivity does not allow one to be whole. And so for women especially, your biggest gift is to be as whole as possible for the next generation.
And I think that yoke is the lack of permission. The lack of permission to be those things. We just now started giving ourselves permission to have self-care, and mental health check-ins, and to say, hey, I don't like that, and that be closed-ended statement. The word no. I mean, we've just given ourselves that permission to do that, and it's so. I think when you have the younger generations coming up, in the dynamic, or the family dynamic in our hierarchy, just kind of changing and shifting, because grandmothers are now under 50.
Yes.
Versus being
looking
over
fly.
You know, right? Like sometimes you got to look like, are they the grandma, the mom, the daughter? Like, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just feel like there has to be a reconnection, something that we can do to now pass that down to that younger generation of women. And I feel like also, you know, being sensitive, it always boggles my mind how we got to the angry Black woman when we took care of your children, we breastfed them, we cared for them, we cooked for your families, we took care of your homes, we worked the fields, we took care of your farm animals, we did it all, and then had to take whatever we had left and then take care of our home. And the tired Black woman, the exhausted Black woman, the treated and abused Black woman, none of those adjectives never come up. But the angry Black woman, how could she be angry when all of this is what we did? You have to have compassion. You have to have a heart. You have to be methodical in what you're going to do because you had to piece out your whole day to have energy to do all of these things. So it always just boggles my mind and cracks me up. Like, you know, frustrated Black women, like there's so many other things that you could do before anger. You know?
Well, it's the same as anybody who lives in denial and is usually the perpetrator of it, of cray cray and drama. And I say, you know, this you know, like many places and spaces, there is similar to a family of abuse. So it's similar where you won't acknowledge the stuff you did. So as things start building up in the person, and then there was a massive disrespect at some point, that's when somebody gets explosive and demands to be fairly treated and to be heard. That's when the term angry shows up. Usually women are called crazy. That's when you crazy.
Hysterical.
But it's hysterical. Right, but it's because there's been a slow buildup of all of the injustices, all of the slights, all of the and so it's kind of built in a lot of ways, that assumption of not owning up to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And again, this is again the larger structure still won't own up to the land they took from these people, the indigenous population. So it ain't gonna do that. And as you know, and anyone who feels uncomfortable acknowledging that they probably did something wrong, you know, that's just
Charlie
exactly.
says,
I love
say
it.
hysterical. You know that sends me into let me educate you on that.
Oh,
That's right, Charlie.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's it, Charlie. That's it. And I think that's the thing as well, because I'm big on our young people and how society perceives us today, especially when it comes to our sisters. And I think one of the things, and sis, correct me if I'm wrong, because we've talked about it, and I talk about it with my wife as well and such, is the fact of we're so rich in history. There's so many dynamics to what we have internally that we haven't even tapped into yet, many of us. And to look back and see the things that we accomplished, and then here we are right now, and we're not even tapping into that. And then to, you know, like you mentioned, as far as you hear angry Black women, to me, the thing is, I'm big on media. And when I see, you know, these shows that are out right now, and you have Black women that are very affluent, that are doing very well, but yet the way they portray themselves, throwing drinks on each other and just fighting and things of that nature. And I'm like,
which show is this? No, it's not. I'm totally missing out. Which one? Which one is this?
I know which one. I mean, I guess that's the thing because there's so many of them, and to me, it's
The
really
housewife shows, the hip hop
Yeah.
shows,
the housewives, these reality shows, and it's just like to me, it's really a slap in the face of the legacy. Basically what you're doing is you're telling some of these younger sisters, okay, when when you make it and such, this is how you should act. This is what you should do. And it's not really tapping into projects like yours and what you're doing and what other people are doing when they're showing, African American women in a positive light, or our ancestry and what they did and how rich and powerful they were before the transgression, we'll call it that, the transgression.
The transgression.
Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing to me. So I guess that's the thing I've always tried to do is like when I see young men, I see especially young sisters, I'm like, do y'all not know the history? Do you not know the sacrifices that were made when we got here? When you look at cornrows and things of that nature, you thinking it's, oh, it's just beautiful and such. Do you not know the history behind it?
They put all the design one is
I know, Carrie. All I'm saying is you talking about stuff that is like back in the day, and like I want to know now. Like I want to know how I can get my stuff now because it is about the coins in 2022. Okay, it's about the coins. It's about getting yours. It's about all of that. So all that sound nice and stuff, but it's about the coins and doing what you need to do now. Like that's what it's about.
Wait a minute. Wait, what's the word? The assignment. The assignment.
The assignment.
You got the assignment.
She got the assignment.
You don't even know the assignment.
And actually, in one sense, that's the nature of any new generation because that's all they're thinking of is the future. That's all they see, and unless you start out from the get-go integrating history as a systemic dynamic in your household, let alone the school, which unless you're in a really gifted school or it's, if it's a homeschool or if it's a more Afrocentric school, then you may lose some more. And then since media hits and, social media and everyone wants to TikTok, then, everybody as youth want to belong to the larger population. So it's understandable that they won't naturally gravitate toward it unless the community does it.
Yep.
And so you can't expect a child to know where to go. There just has to be places and spaces to consistently build for the children. And that's the thing. It's how to keep that. And you mentioning media, there are lots of people from, Ava DuVernay doing Queen Sugar, or, Dee Rees doing Mud. Yes. And there's even Viola Davis and her Jujubee production. They're coming out in September with another of these Dahomey Warriors. I think it's called A Woman King.
Yeah. And I'm also excited about her role as the first lady.
Yes, and there you go. And so she's her and her husband are using the platform to build stronger, clearer canons for us. Media canons, as in where children can go back and find it. We can Google and read it or see it. It's that kind of. There are so because there was always going to be the Jerry Springer housewives, because everybody likes to see an accident anyway. Lots of people have a habit. What happened? Oh yeah. No. Oh God. Oh geez, you see that? So that's normal. That's human. But therefore, just like with a chocolate cake, or let's say the Twinkies or the whatever the candy corn that you're eating, there can be like a carrot, or there could be a you know, the salad, or there can be, so not everything has to be one thing, but it's about our diversity, and it's about us more and more. Lena Waite is doing some amazing work. You know, it's just all kinds of, we are not a monolith. We are not homogenous in one type of blackness. We speak multiple languages.
As Melissa just showed us, yes.
Yeah.
I feel that, and this is where, you know, I try to, you know, just kind of a little censored. You can't sprout and sprout out, you know, everybody came from Africa. We're the motherland. We're the origin. You know, all of you came from us. And then you stick with this tunnel vision, intentional ignorance about what America looks like and what it involves, and what, you know, what other ingredients are put into this huge melting pot. If you are truly convicted to say, yes, I come from Africa, the origin of all, you need to learn as much as you can, definitely about your history, but
Right.
others. That way, there is some type of a bridge for communication in the community, in the generations. I feel mine, maybe one after me, we have dropped the ball, because these are our children, and now their children that have that attitude, that have that, you know, kind of void, no sense of, they don't even have like immediate family history. Like, you don't take your kids back to where you grew up. You don't take your kids to, like, you don't talk, you don't go to family reunions, you don't have picnics, none of this stuff. It's just like, I'm just trying to live. And I think that's why, I mean, just what you said, it's there's no consideration of the past. They're always looking towards the future. There's no inclusion. It's just, what can I have today and what can I do tomorrow? And that's our fault. That's our fault, you know. You said community. How has the Miami-Dade community embraced the play?
Oh my gosh. Wow. That, man, if you were there this Sunday, Lord, you might as well have had popcorn in that audience. They were talking. Everybody was like, "Oh no!" And then there's like, once there was a moment where people shouted out, "Kill him! Kill him!" And I found out later it was a little older lady. She was like, "It was me. It was me." I was like, "Lord." They are over the moon with this story. They always love what M Ensemble does, and when Leon brings some really great gristle, I would say theatrical gristle, to them, into the mix and onto the plate, so that people can like emotionally connect to it and just dive in and get a full meal all the time. And so this time around, it's just see us like have these amazing little sword fights, and then I mean, the set itself is like a living piece of environment. It's like, again, I'm not, no spoilers, but what they do with, the fog machine, it's like there's like a living waterfall in here. It's beautiful, actually. Yes. So it gives you a sense of the peace and a little taste and hint of what it might have been in Africa, and in that little part, nestled where the trees are, and so like my little branches here. And it's I would say they really took to heart the story, and there's a few who already came back with more people. So that's you can't beat that. You really
right.
word of mouth is just a blessing. And you know, they flew me in from New York, but I still wound up getting friends who showed up here.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
Who showed up here, and you know, one of my childhood friends, Toki, who I knew her since we were 9 years old in New York, but she lives in North Carolina right now. But she was traveling in Miami with some friends because they were going to do a little island hopping and stuff. So she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm coming," and I was like, "Oh, get out!"
I'm
So,
literally considered, like, in my mind, Carrie, I'm like, let me see if I can catch a flight out Concord from Concord, because you know all of the flights from Concord, they do Florida, Louisiana. Like,
oh wow,
Yeah.
okay.
the first time for me to head back into the 9 to 5 world. Let me see what might be popping over there if I can get a flight to Miami.
Well, come on through. Go ahead.
I love to
I'll put
hear
your
that the
ticket
set.
right
I
there.
love that when you can walk into a theater and when the lights dim and you know the stage illuminates and the from the first scene in the background and the props, it just transports you to that era or that place. That's when you get the talking back, because everyone literally has went on the same journey.
Yeah.
They went through the same time capsule, and we're there with you, and we're eating it up and breathing it, and you forget that this is entertainment, this is a production, because you're like, oh no, girl, no, he didn't, like,
And that's what we heard. Oh my God. And
so that's good. That's a key sign that it is phenomenal when you have that interaction with the audience without request.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. And then we usually take what I call at this point cosplay photos after the show, because everybody from the children on up, like one of the actresses, Asilia Neely, who plays Abele, she has a bow and arrow. And so all the girls, they want to hold the bow, and I want to stand with and there's like a fake sword, so you could get the whole. So they're standing, and they're this, and it's like there's photos. Then there's an elders who they roll up with the wheel, you know, their push cart, then their walkers. Like I'm holding it too. So we just got photos of just the audience just enraptured with the energy and the story. And I think also it's one of the key things is, again, it has basically one of their truths. These women, the Minot, was their phrase was conquer or die. So they never they were not about well, we tried. they were not that.
Losing was not an option.
No, losing was not an option.
And the minnow, meaning, our mother. I mean, our mothers, it just still goes back to that having so much responsibility, but it's natural.
Yep.
It is something that we were birthed with, so who you're fearless, phenomenal warrior team, army, and you're known as our mothers. Like that is what I feel like. Is that what you're fighting for? Is that what you're maintaining? That just has, that phrase also to me just has so many different layers, so many possible reasons, and it being motivational as well.
Absolutely, because it's I mean, Earth is a mother. That's why I call her Mother Earth. And so it's what holds you. I mean, that's what a throne generally represents. It's the lap of your mother.
Right.
That's how it was built, so that you sit on the lap of the one who birthed you. So it's always coming. It always goes back to your source, and that is, again, she the one who births and hones civilizations. So and raises kings and queens. That has always been the truth. And that energy is most vital, and yet it always and must be fueled with the information of your lineage and your legacy. And that's definitely what you both are have been sharing, is that yes, how does one, or how can we more and more kind of share more bits and pieces of lineage and legacy, so it becomes kind of integrated in the now, versus, oh, that's back then, I don't need to know about that.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Do you feel, I mean, I know we talked about Viola Davis, but do you see or feel this going to film?
Ooh. Well, I can't. I will say that this piece, what Leon wrote, can absolutely go to film. As by him, produced by whomever, great. And to honor his work, and definitely honor his words and story. I know I'm sure he has one in his back pocket as a screenplay. And they definitely should reach out to him to do so, because not only is this filled with a lot of historical information, I will definitely say, and the connectivity and of the community, and some interesting characters. He also has an amazing, and he puts this, Leon does this in all of his work. There's amazing spirituality in this too. So it harkens to all kinds of layers of that. And I say, like, mythology of, there's this animal, the hyena, that consistently moves through this piece in a mysterious way, and people don't know what that's about. That my character consistently chases, has an interactions with, as well as the living space itself, and how one of the young actress character talks about how her mother told stories about these aspects. So there's a lot of beautiful nuance that, how, as we grew up seeing, Wonder Woman or Thor or Superman, or all of these stories that talk about the mystique of how their origin, and there was this, and then there was that, and it was birthed from that moon, and it came from this sun, and that's lovely. But we have we have this endless amounts of what I would call amazing magic, magical stories, origin stories, as well as ways to interpret the earth, and ways to interpret our place on this earth. So, and that's now more and more coming out into the mix. I'm so glad Octavia Spencer's pieces are going to be transformed. Some of her works are going to be made into, I think, either one of it's a TV series, and I think there's a movie soon for her sci-fi and her African or Afrofuturist perspective, and not Octavia Spencer, Octavia Butler, and just other works. So I think more and more we have more avenues to start exploring those realms too. So again, back to this piece, yes, there's I think there's a lot in it to be able to entertain, but then to also expand our language, because I think that's that's part of our strength, is our diversity.
Yes.
not the other way around. So our script.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that, you know, I definitely want to be respectful of your time, and I'll put this disclaimer out there. I grew up liking Wonder Woman. I grew up turning around in circles when Linda Carter was on television. But as I began to gain knowledge about not warriors that were fictitious but actually real people, I just can't help but to think that, you know, the Amazons of Mascara are so similar to the Dahomey. But you know, I'm just not gonna I'm just gonna throw that out there, and I'm just gonna
But
leave
listen,
it.
girl, listen.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. And
You could throw it out because it's already out there. Because they did some research on that, and they had done some research on some of the burial locations in Greece of these, you know, supposedly Amazon Athenian peoples, but they found that they had traditional stuff that was from Africa. So it's very possible that, again, back to, you know, how some things, as the conversation transfers from generation to generation, it may slowly change. either
to be messy again.
location,
We was on the front line. We didn't stay hidden in behind a cloak. We was out there in the world fighting. Y'all had to stay with amongst yourselves. But you know, I don't want to be messy. I'm just gonna.
No, well, I mean, again, I just like I one of the things is I can't wait until they have conversations or start showing doing awesome movies and film about the African voyages to the Mayan, the Incan dynasty, because that's why Christopher Columbus took who he took as his guide, who was from Africa, because they were Moors, and the Moors who, you know, it was a whole thing because the Moors did that like at least over 100 or 200 years prior. So, you know, yes.
And the reason why he got lost is because he tried to do it on his own. He stopped listening to his navigator and decided that he was going to take it on himself. But see, this is a whole nother show.
That's
the show, boy. You were like, bro, wait a minute, but you supposed to go. Never mind, you go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, Columbus, I hear you.
For those who may want to travel to Miami, please let us know the location and the dates and the time of this phenomenal play. And I'm going to let you close out with whatever you would like to say.
Well, again, y'all, you're a blessing, Melissa. You know, Carrie. It's I'm always overwhelmed with joy and giggleness.
Oh.
by your dynamic selves, and I'm missing I'm missing him.
Hey, money.
I'll be back.
Yes. Hey, money standard. Thank you. You can definitely come through to see the last weekend of the Dahomey Warriors here in Miami. It's last Thursday, tomorrow, which has a discount. So you'd have to call the number, which I will share. And Thursday night, Friday, and Saturday nights at 8 p.m. and Sunday at 3 matinee. And it's going to be performed at the Sandrell Rivers Theater. Sandrell Rivers Theater, since I will read from here. It is Sandrell Rivers Theater, which is 6103 Northwest 7th Avenue, Miami, Florida. And their number is, for tickets, you'd either call the M Ensemble office at 305-705-3218 or Sandrell Rivers Theater office at 305-200-5043.
All right.
Yeah, so there's only 4 more shows, y'all. So don't miss it. It's going to be a blast. Would love to see you. And again, an amazing, talented cast with Tadra Brunson, with Celia Neely, as well as Iman Clark and Charles Reuben Cornegie, and myself,
and
and
yourself.
Leon Gray as in his cameo appearance. No spoilers.
Well, I again am always delighted. You bring so much energy to us, so we can't help but to be who we are as being
Yes.
great, because you are great, and
Yes,
we
you
are
do.
so honored that you took time out of your schedule and decided to speak with us and our family. And we wish you the most favor and blessings on your continued success, and more of these projects, more of these plays that speak to who you are in your soul, that makes it just even easier just for you to be able to come and portray that character, because it's who you are. I love that our previous show you talked about having that piece of that character that kind of stays with you, that resonates, and I see nothing but great things from what you choose to participate in, who helps build you up to this phenomenal queen that you are right now. So I respect that so much. And we just hope and pray that we get to see you live.
Yes.
Yes, that would be
Here.
such a great honor for us.
There,
We got
I
to
will
get
be there.
get something to come North Carolina side close to us. Yay.
Yes.
Mhm.
Carrie, you got
Absolutely.
something?
I just I thoroughly enjoyed this show. I always enjoy it whenever she comes on.
Yes.
I've always said when she becomes famous, don't forget us little people.
You ain't no
we
little
gonna,
people. What? You
we're gonna
coming
be right
along?
there.
Come on.
You know, I'm gonna be like, I know her. I know her. We talked to her and stuff.
Hey, it's
Yeah.
me, it's Pitbull. Hello.
Yeah.
I said, no, bring them in. Bring them in. They the main media. Come on. Come along.
Ah.
You on the red carpet. Come on.
Oh, wait a minute, look, Carrie.
Yeah.
Is that it? Is that it?
That's it.
That's it right there. Shout out to Sure Thing Productions. They were the ones that have always facilitated
Yep.
our opportunity with her. So I definitely want to give a shout out to them.
That's right. Shout out to Sure Things, David Heron, always doing some phenomenal. I will, man, he is the engine. He is the engine behind magic. So if you want a Sure Thing, I literally say, if you want a Sure Thing, contact Sure Thing. Seriously. An engine and a brilliant spirit. David Heron. Yes. And shout out to my talent, my managers, the Talent Express. Lorna Rainey, Anastasia Renee. That's right. And Evelyn.
Oh, she good. I'm
all
she good
females.
people, man.
I'm telling you.
That's the way to go.
That's right. Because Black women matter.
That's right. You see your T-shirt? There you go.
Well, family, once again, it's that time in which, we really hate to do it, but we got to go. But if you get a chance, share the show with as many people as possible. Let them know about, again, there's only 4 shows left. So, if you got some people down there in the Miami-Dade area or nearby, tell them about the show. Learn more about this amazing, wonderful muse. And we will see y'all again very, very soon. Charlie Tubes. We love you too, sis.
Love you too, Charlie.
Talk to you later.